All right, so I just wanted to come on here and make yet another weekly overview of Gorilla Technology before next week because last week was a huge week for Gorilla, and this week is probably even bigger of a week for Gorilla. So I just kind of want to make these videos while Gorilla is still cheap. While it's still an amazing buy, when it goes up, it'll still be a great buy. But right now, it is at a price that I don't think anybody should be missing out on. I don't think it'll be this low ever again, really, once we see these certain things happen and once we see it really break out. I don't think it'll ever come back because, I'm watching a growing company here just flourish. Last 6 months, you can see the chart here. It's up a ton and it'll continue to grow a ton. Still only $350 million market cap. So if you have not bought yet and you want couple more videos on why you should buy it, I have a bunch on my YouTube channel talking about more in depth about why you should buy it, other reasons. But this video will hopefully help you make that decision. And if you've already bought, hopefully you're holding or buying more. I know I am. So in terms of weekly overview, so last week the big thing for Gorilla was the 20F form, which would kind of solidify their earnings as being legit, and it would hopefully send the price up because, as you can see, these levels, these 40 levels that we tested early March, those were, obviously great levels for Gorilla to be at. I still think it's undervalued at 40 right now. I think it's valued probably closer to 70, maybe even 100. If you want to know why, you can watch some of my other videos on their earnings because they reported ridiculously good earnings, especially for a growing company. So, but again, that's a good starting point for Gorilla, at least, is the 40 level. But you didn't see Gorilla, the stock, hold it for very long just because of the short selling. And, there were firms, Citron, I think, was one of them, and Culper's Research, as of more recently, came on and, posted these articles about why Gorilla is an awful investment, why it's all fraudulent. And obviously, I don't think that's true. I don't think any rational person can believe that because you just one quick look, see these firms are anonymous and they are hoping to make a ton of money by manipulating a low volume stock like Gorilla. It's still relatively unknown, which is good for investors because once it gets known, I'm saying this thing is going to go to the moon. But it's easy for people to see that that's not true, but obviously it's going to send some investors, worried, and that sends the stock price down a ton. So, you see these 40 levels. The first article came out around here, around the 40 level. It goes down to 25. And the second article came out around here and went down to 16 or 17. So the problem with that is that in that span, there was a lot of good news that is just not showing in the stock price because of the short sellers. So, you have a bunch of deals being made here. I talked about those a little in my other videos. And then you have their earnings, which were here. And, the earnings were great. And really, after earnings like that, you'd think that the stock would go up a ton. But no, it went down because of the short selling. So, you might be wondering, well, what's changing? What's making sentiment go up? Well, this is a huge milestone for Gorilla that just, I think, went on last Tuesday or Wednesday, is that they filed a lawsuit against these short sellers. And this is huge for the company and for the stock price because, these short sellers that have really been sending the price down from the 40 levels a couple months ago down to these, below 20 levels, they're gone now, basically, or they're going to be gone because they file a lawsuit and there's really no defense here. They're baseless claims. So most likely they win that lawsuit and it's over. There's no more short sellers. There's no more articles. There obviously will still be short sellers, but there's no more this believing what these short sellers said. So that is huge for Gorilla stock price. And that was really what was hindering it from reaching these 40 levels again. And if you're wondering why the stock price didn't shoot up when this was announced, well, there's one thing that's underlying, which they did not do last week, and that's release that 20F report. They were so busy dealing with the short sellers and the lawsuit that they ended up releasing this, which basically announced that they would be delaying their 20F Not a ton. Obviously, they say they want to release it as soon as reasonably possible, so that's not much to worry about. And they also said that the delay was not due to any sort of concerns. Really, it was more just like administrative reasons. So probably them dealing with the short sellers. So it's quote unquote bad news, and it didn't really send the stock price down just because there was other good news to counteract it, but it really just limited the stock reaction to that news. So in terms of what to expect, that 20F report is probably going to come out next week. This upcoming week, it is due the 30th, I'm pretty sure. So, if not next week, the week after. But when that 20F report comes out, you can very well expect the stock price of Grill to shoot up. Just because, you can think back to these 40 levels. Well, Gorilla got here without their earnings report, without a bunch of the deals they signed since, and they got to 40. And, what's stopping them from getting to 40 now or even higher? They got to 40 without the earnings being released, without all the deals. So, the only thing that was stopping them from getting to 40 and above was the short sellers, and the short sellers are gone now. And all investors are just waiting to make sure that this 20F is released, and it's released. It's got good information in it. Obviously, nothing new will most likely be announced, but it's just kind of solidifying that this company is legit. And once it's released and it releases, the company is legit, the stock price is most likely going to go up a ton. And this is my most confident stock pick by far. Again, I have tons of videos on the stock just because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to find a stock like this that is so small, but that trades so predictably and has so much room to grow. Again, you don't see a stock with $350 million market cap that's so sound in, their transparency by their CEO and their earnings growing so much. So a lot of the stocks under $1 billion market cap are a little bit sketchy, and you kind of just got to wait for them to go past $1 billion, and then you get a little more confidence. But this one, I'm telling you, I've been on this stock since it was at $30 million market cap. Since we were down at the 250 levels is when I've been investing since, and ever since then, this company has not failed to outshine my expectations. And I just hope that if you're watching this, you do not miss out on this opportunity. Any stock you look at in the market right now will most likely not have as much room to grow as Gorilla. I am certain it doesn't have as much room to grow. Again, I see this stock at 100. It could possibly be at 100 by the end of the year. We're talking, splitting and being at 500 in the next couple of years, and then being, a $10 billion market cap very soon. And eventually, hopefully, $100 billion market cap. That's, again, we're thinking very long term here. But again, their idea, if you're again watch one of my other videos to see what this company is all about. But they do smart city AI. That is the future. They have technology that it has really never been seen before in companies. And their financials show it. Their financials are growing. The earnings report was great. So again, this is another huge week for Gorilla. Once that 20F report is out, we just hope and pray that price goes back up. Obviously, it's kind of hard to predict. Sometimes the market doesn't do what you think it will, but all signs point to Gorilla being back at 40 and beyond. So do not miss out. Once it goes to 40, it might not look back, and once it's at 40, it's a lot more expensive than when it's at 20. I know that for sure. So obviously, invest in at your own risk. This is a very risky stock. Again, if you invest in it, you kind of just have to be ready for a bunch of volatility, but it makes it a whole lot more fun than investing in, the S&P or whatever, even though that's, the quote unquote safer option. This stock sees 10% up and downs every single day. It's just normal. It's just the way Gorilla is because investors are kind of tossed up on, where they think the stock is going to go. But once that 20F report is out, and hopefully it'll be out soon, this stock could go big. So let me know what you think in the comments. But if I were you and you haven't bought Gorilla Technology Group yet, do a tiny bit of research, and then I would buy a good amount before it's too late. Thank you, and let me know what you guys think in the comments.